Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Of course, the first week, the first Wednesday of every month, we have a guest with us. And today I'm so excited to have with me Melanie Lejar. And I really want to thank Melanie because she's stepping in really last minute. Unfortunately, my previous guest I had booked, she had to cancel due to unforeseen circumstances. So thanks so much, Melanie, for being here. Really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
It's my pleasure.
Great. I'm so excited for this conversation. So, Melanie is a business owner of a financial education center, and she's senior marketing director at WFG. And I met Melanie through going to some financial literacy workshops in my local region. It has been super helpful. We're not going to get into too much of the financial stuff right away, a little bit more later in the episode, but it's definitely super helpful. And Melanie came to the house and she sat down with us and kind of got us organized and straightened out with some of our finance things. So that was really, really great. And today I want to talk to Melanie mostly at the beginning of the episode about, taking a road less traveled or roads less traveled and, walking your own path and kind of not necessarily going in the same flow as the rest of society usually has you to go. So do you want to just share a little bit about your story, Melanie?
Yeah, I would love to. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. I think this is pretty awesome that you're empowering people, women, men from all different places. I would say this is awesome. But yeah, just a little bit of my background. I am from Bouctouche, New Brunswick, which is a very small town in east of Canada. And if you know anything about small towns, you would know that when you have big dreams in small towns, you don't say to people, okay? So personally, I graduated from high school. I went the traditional route, I'm gonna say. I went into civil engineering and I graduated. I was working for the government, Department of Transportation, and I honestly loved my job. I'm somebody that has always been very ambitious. I love to work. I love to complete things, let's call it. So for me, it just made sense. But to be very honest, what I wanted as a child, like my dream, was to be in business, but also to help people. Because I come from a background, my father was in business, my mom is a nurse, and I have a sister who's special needs. So really, that I wanted something that was going to tie my values. But let's be real, at 17 years old, when you graduate high school, what kind of business you get started?
Yeah.
No, straight into studies, let's call
Yeah.
it. So for me, I did the traditional study, work, government job. Parents are proud. I was waitressing, I was bartending, so I could pay for my school because it's obviously not free. And I'm so blessed, and I believe that everything happens for a reason. But while I was waitressing, I would always see these ladies come to eat once a month. And for me, the image of a little businesswoman, the little skirt and the shoes and whatever, like every time I would see those ladies come in, I was wondering, like, what do they do? Like, and I'm pretty curious. So I asked, like, what do you do? What do you guys do? Once a month, you come eat here at the restaurant, like, you're all obviously doing something. And they said, oh, we're les dames d'Acadie. We do volunteering work in the communities and whatever. And I said, oh, that's pretty awesome. And they said, we're actually looking for young adults because these were all retired women doing good in the community. But at the time, they said, we're looking for young adults. Would you like to join our Dame d'Acadie? Me, 23 years old, I say, yes. Number one, I love to eat. So I thought, eating once a month, this is good. And to make a difference, I was all for that. But that exact summer of 2009, they asked me, hey, we have a summit for women in men industries. And it happens every 5 years. It's in Chicago, New Brunswick. Can you go and you'll be the little secretary for the weekend? As you're young, can write fast. So I said, sure, for me, yes, sir. Girls' weekend away, UP. And I went in open-minded and ready to do my little job, but I came out having made new friends and very inspired by all the women successful in our province. And me, in engineering, it's not there's more men than there's women, let's put it that way. So I was coming from a background where there was more men in my field than women. So I was a woman in the men industry myself.
Yeah.
But I told a pure stranger, I love my government job, but I always wanted a business. And the rest is kind of history.
Okay.
Because that lady listened to me when I spoke, thank God, took my name and number, didn't say much, just that we were in different regions. And that same week, someone called me up. We don't know each other, but I got your name and number from this lady who mentioned you might be interested in business. Can we chat? And I said, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So for me, how did I start a business at 23 years old was very untraditional. Let's put it that way. But it was very meant to be.
I love that.
And I've been a very responsible person my entire life. I am the oldest of 3 girls, with my little sister Jocelyn, special needs. So I've never made any, I'm not going to say stupid decisions, but I've always been very calculated in my career decisions. So for me, when my parents saw me come home and say, I started a business, what are you talking about? Yeah, you guys are going to see. And I could not articulate what I was going to be doing. They were a bit worried for a minute. But that passed.
Yes, it all worked out.
Yeah, it all worked out. Because I started, and a year later, I quit my engineering job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So had you replaced your income in a year?
No. Okay. No. And not that I would necessarily recommend my journey to anyone else, right? But if we look back, I built my values are, and my spirit and my whatever is, I can make money like anywhere. I can waitress, I can go to DOT, I can, wherever I work, I will make money, but you never get time back. So for me, I had a choice to make. Yes, I could have prolonged my DOT journey. I could have worked for my comfort, my security, my peace of mind, my income every 2 weeks. I would have stayed at Department of Transportation because that was income, let's call it, right? So traditional income, it comes with the job. So yes, I could have worked an extra year, 2 years, 3 years, 5, and kind of made more money here, increased gradually, and then made this transition. But I thought, what am I going to do different? Even if I work an extra year or 2, I'm just going to spend that money anyway. For society, the more we make, the more we spend.
Yeah.
So for me, I was willing to sacrifice my lifestyle for freedom of time. Let's put it that way. Because I knew if I work 60 to 80 hours with my job, my government job, how can I build a business successfully? Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I would prefer making less money, have more time, build it up, and then understand that, if I do the right thing, I will replace my income. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. So let's rewind to when you decided to go into engineering. Like we said, it's not a field that there are many women. There are some, but totally male dominated. So what
made me decide? Well, initially I wanted to go in actuarial science. I've always loved math, physics, numbers, whatever, and I had done a co-op stage in high school at l'Assomption Vie. So I had kind of wanted to do that, and that's how I started in university and DSS. And then when I understood that to be an actuary, an actuaire, I had to minimum go to Quebec to go study. Like, it wasn't a course I could have done in Moncton or whatever. And when I really understood that with my sister, I didn't really want to leave for multiple years to go to school and be away from home with her. So that's when I kind of transitioned into the engineering, because it was another kind of field where there's a lot of numbers and a lot of, and I am the type of person who's very visionary, and I love to build something. So to build bridges and to build homes and to build, it kind of just made sense at that time. But it wasn't my dream. It was just
it worked out at the time.
It worked out at the time.
So what was the ratio of males to females in your engineering?
I'm thinking in the class where I was at, I think there was 3 girls where there, whatever.
Out of how
Uh,
many?
Geez, okay, that's a good question. There are probably 150 of us that
Oh my
graduated.
goodness, 150.
Yeah,
And
I would
three.
say 3 to 6. Like, I'm just trying to think in different like
Okay.
departments, like
Okay.
from architectural to mechanical to whatever different kinds. But
Okay.
yeah, there was not a lot. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, and to me, that's never really bothered me. In
Mhm.
some extent, I relate more to men than women in ways.
I understand that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in ways I fit more in because I am a shy person. So I kind of, they do their thing and I just did my thing. I'm a little shy nerd, let's call it. So yeah, I think it was a good fit for me at that time.
And how was it on the work site? So that again, you're in
Oh,
construction sites, all men again, right?
yes.
Was it all men? Were you the only woman, or were they?
Pretty often, like there was a few women once in a while. I can't say there was no, like there, like in Department of Transportation, there's different jobs,
Yeah.
like there's surveyors, anyway, there's a lot of different jobs. So yes, there were times when I would see other women, obviously. But no, on the job sites, it's a lot more men than women. But I think there's 2 types of people. For me, if you respect people and they respect you, a job gets done, right? So for me, I went to work, I did my job, they did their job, and I've had great projects. Every project that I worked on, it went very well. So honestly, I didn't have any hard time with men or with women or whatever. I just felt like, yeah, if you respect each other, projects are going to go well.
So you always felt that respect, no matter,
Yeah.
a young woman engineer, there's nothing,
Oh,
no
well,
issues.
I can't say that who knows what, like you don't know, like obviously there's a perception, obviously, yeah, and I'm not your traditional girl you would see on a job site, let's put it that way, but yeah, no, I hear feedback today from people that would see me on jobs and they say oh, we knew you were so smart and you were going to do something good.
Okay.
So they could see my work ethic in that job and they know why I'm successful here in what I do today. They can understand it because I had that same enthusiasm in my career that I have in my business today.
So you'd earn their respect that way. Then they knew that.
Yeah,
You knew your
I'm not there. I'm there to do my job. Like I'm not there to pick at someone else doing not their job.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
So yeah.
So then when you decided to leave your government job, which I did that once in the past, and then I had to go back.
Yeah.
So I kind of know what that conversation is like with the parents, but just like what were they saying? Was it just your parents? Were you hearing things from other people as well?
Yeah, I think well, we need to think of my mother, the nurse, who's had a nursing income her entire life and stability, and who is the worrier. It's 100%. My mom was not on board with my decision, and I'm very close to my parents, both of them. But my mother was worried because for her, she wanted my stability, right? She wanted that. Oh no, she has her income every 2 weeks, and you know what I mean? Like, but my father, who had been in business, that understood my fire, that understood my brain, knew there's nothing that's gonna stop her. Off she goes, right?
Okay.
So I mean, there was that kind of balance, but I think the biggest thing personally for me, in making I never would have put my mother, let's call it, or my parents, in a situation they had to worry for me if I wasn't 150% convinced and serious myself. Personally, like I knew that do or die, this is it, and I was willing to sacrifice their peace of mind, their everything for what was coming, but I had to accept that, and that was probably the hardest thing, because I knew like they're about to sacrifice with me on this roller coaster ride, but they're about to have the smiles and take and get the rewards also of it coming in the future, right? So I knew that for that beginning of an entrepreneur business, it's never easy. And I knew that. My dad knows that. My mother, for years, would still talk. Every time it would get rough, she would tell me, like, can't you just go back to your job? And we would argue, and I'm like, Mom, I'm never going back. Even if I made no money, I love what I do. I'm happy. I'm not going back. So we would have to go back. Today, she could sit next to me right now, and she would tell you, thank God she didn't listen to me. Yeah. Today, she says that in public. Yeah. But back then, she was like, oh my God, my daughter's losing her mind. Like,
so how long ago was it that you left your government job?
2010. So I did 1 year of part-time. And honestly, I was building a bridge in Moncton at the time. And when I finished that project, I quit my job. Okay. So it was a 3-year project, a 3-year bridge. And when that was done, I quit. Like, I'm not the type that would quit in the middle of a project, but as soon as it was done, I was out.
Okay. Yeah. So how many years did it take for her to get on board?
Oh, I would say up to, it went up and down throughout the years. There's times like, Yahoo. But I would say really was when she came around was in March 2017. Because in perspective, I am a shy person. I hated public speaking. If you would tell me I would speak for a living, I would say you're nuts. There's no way. No. I am shy. So it was very outside my comfort zone. So my mom got sick in 2015, and she went from a nursing income to 0 income in a split second. And she was at a place where she was discouraged, and my dad had to support the 3 of them, let's call it. So I knew she needed positivity because my mother's always been the most positive person in my life. So basically, in March 2017, we had a convention. We have an annual convention every year, and it was in New Orleans. So I told my mother, like, you're coming with me to convention. And she had not come with me to a convention since 2010. But I knew she personally needed some positivity, right? So I was bringing her for her to get her cup filled a little bit of bigger picture after some sickness and some financial troubles and whatnot. And I had gone through some rough times in a personal level and on my business level. So I needed her to see some positive sun coming in. So I brought her to New Orleans, and I was actually asked to speak at that convention in front of 17,000 people. So my mother saw her little shy girl go in front of, for the first time, 17,000 people and rock it, let's call it. So I think that moment, that weekend, she was like, okay, I feel good. My daughter's going to be okay. She's at her place. This is where she's meant to be. And she came on board from there. Yeah. So since awesome. March 2017, my mom's probably one of my biggest supporters. So she was my biggest adversity for years, but today she's one of the, oh yeah, you're gonna do it. She's my biggest cheerleader right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, the parents, that's the thing. They always just want the best for us, right? Yes. So they worry and
yeah. With good reason.
Yeah.
With good reason. Yeah.
Exactly. So your financial workshops, do you want to get into some of the top financial kind of, I don't know, things to watch out for, or the main points? I know there's so much. You do this in 5 workshops, like an hour and a half each. Like there's material, there's content here, but if you could summarize it a bit and share it with us.
Yes, for sure. First of all, I think I need to start by saying, like, when I started in financial literacy, personally, I was 23 years old, and the only thing I knew about money was how to spend and blow it myself. Okay. So first of all, I would tell everybody listening today, 95% of the population in Canada is living paycheck to paycheck. So if you're listening to us today, you are normal. So I think that obviously, since we've never learned about money, and we take our education from what? Social media, our friends, our neighbors, internet, like, where do we find our information? right? So for me, when I started this, my business for financial literacy, I thought, well, the worst case scenario is number one, I will learn about money for myself. Well, honestly, Sharla, I had no idea the stuff that I would see, to be honest. So I guess if I were to summarize quickly the last 13 years of my life, because now I'm 36 years old, and I've been teaching thousands of people, from young adults to seniors to multicultural centers to we have so many things going on right now, and I've sat in front of many people. So what I share is from what I saw. You know what I mean? I didn't read it from a book. I didn't read it from an internet. I saw the people in my face with their paperwork crying with me. So I felt it with people. Again, last week, I saw a lady cry at a kitchen table because she just lost her husband, who had always been present, and now she was the one who had to cut her wood. She's the one who had to do everything that she's never had to do. So you get to feel with them. But in summary, what I teach and what I've learned, so the first workshop is where we talk about cash flow and debt management. The number one stress for majority of people is their debts.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And how to get rid of them. And it's never ending. Like there's always every time you kind of get rid of one, there's another one popping up. There's something going on. But we've been taught pay your highest interest first. What the problem with that is, I'm gonna say, let's pretend you and I were talking about weight loss right now, and I tell you, hey, Sharla, you know what? I want to lose 50 pounds. Okay, in a nutshell, I could want to lose 50 pounds, but realistically speaking, am I going to lose 50 pounds in the next month? No. Right? But what's a realistic goal? Oh, maybe I could lose 5 pounds this month. I don't know. You know what I mean? But 50 is very far off. Now, if my big goal is 50 pounds, what needs to happen between now and 50? Well, I need to get to 5, success, get to 10, success, 15, success, right? And someday I'll get to 50. But if I'm just waiting for the 50 to feel successful, guess what's going to happen in between?
Yeah.
I quit.
Yeah.
Who wants to eat lettuce and get up at 4 and go to the gym every day and have 0 results, right? That would suck. So at the end of the day, finances are the same. If I have a credit card that's $20,000 and it's 19.99 interest, and I never feel it's going down, guess what? I get discouraged. I feel, I'll never get rid of it anyway. So that's why it's a never-ending story. So I would tell everybody listening, stop focusing on your highest interest first and focus on the smallest debt you have. Pay minimum, and everything minus that one. That one, that little one, that's the one you drop everything on. And when you're done paying that one, you Yahoo, celebrate your success, cut it, do something, put it in your freezer, then go on to your next card. And then your next card. So accept where you're at financially. It's like me, if I gain 50 pounds, I have to accept I gain 50 pounds. And then I have to have a little game plan on how to get back to my health, right? So financially, if I have $50,000, $100,000, $500,000 of debt, I can accept it and then start having a debt roll-up plan. So in workshop number 1, we talk about that, and we also try to find money we don't even know we have. Because typically, we spend all these different things on so many things that we've never really paid attention to. So I'm the girl that finds money people don't even know they had, right? All the time, literally. And then in our workshop number 2, we talk about building a proper financial foundation and proper protection. I agree with 100% of people that there is so many bad insurance in the world. I've seen hundreds of probably thousands of kitchen tables where I personally felt so bad that these people had been paying for things that really did not help their family. Let's call it that way. Okay. So there is a difference between good insurance and bad insurance. But the reality in life is we're all going to pass away. And when we do we have the right one or the bad one? So we should find out when we're still alive and we can do something about it versus finding out too late and wish we would have, right? So proper protection is a big need out there. And we've all been taught like, oh, pay off your debts, get rid of your debts. But who has ever said, do you have life insurance? Do you have critical illness? Do you have your will? Do you have your power of attorney? Do you have disability? Who's ever asked us these questions? Really?
Yeah.
And that's the foundation. Because personally, my father, when he had a heart attack at 49, and he did not have proper protection because he was never taught, and I was only 16, so I wasn't here. Guess what? When there's no proper protection in place, my parents had to go into more debt because they didn't have that, right? And sorry, but the electricity bill and the phone bill and the mortgage and the car, they don't care if you've just had a heart attack. They want their money, right? So my dad had to go into his RRSPs. They had to go into their emergency fund, all these different things to survive with their 3 kids at that time. But if the proper financial foundation would have been in place for them, they never would have had to touch that. So that's what we tackle in workshop number 2. Workshop number 3, saving money, right? The money we don't have, right? So when we decide to start saving money, you and I, Sharla, could be the best of friends. We could decide on the same day, you know what? We're going to be smart. We're both going to walk into our different financial institutions. We're both going to be very disciplined. We're both going to save money. We save the exact same thing. And we do that from our 20s. So we do it in our 20s, our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. We get together, we're like, let's go take out our money. Go buy something together in Florida. So you go into your institution, I go in mine. We did the exact same thing. One of us comes back out with 100 grand and the other one has 500. How would we feel for each other?
Yeah.
Not good. One of us would be like, oh my, what did you do? And the other one would be like, what did you do? We would not be happy for each other. We would feel bad for each other, right? Because we had the same time, we did the same kind of money, exactly to the dime, but yet one of us has a lot more than the other one. And that's what's happening right now in our world. We don't know where to save. And because of that, we don't see the impact right now, but somebody someday will see it and say, oh, if I would have known that when I was younger. And that's what I hear all the time from baby boomers.
Yeah, right.
Right? Had we known that when we were younger, we would have done that. Yeah, so I'm trying to teach people today what they need to do today so they don't have to say that in 40 years, say that in 30 years.
Yeah.
Because if they can understand how taxes work, if they can understand how rate of return, that it makes a difference between starting now or later, all these different things, it does matter. So number 4 is probably my favorite workshop. And we talk about retirement. And what I love about it, it's very, what would be the word? Controversial. Because young adults would say, oh, I don't need to go to that. I'm young. Who cares about retirement? I don't even know if I'm going to be alive, right? And then people in retirement would say, why would I have to go to that? I'm already in retirement. Well, I would tell you all, doesn't matter how old you are, that you all need to go. Because the kicker is, the people that are in retirement, my concern for them is them actually running out of money in retirement. My concern for them is that their paperwork not done right, and someday they'll be unhappy that they understand, oh my geez, if somebody would have double checked that. And for the young adults, I've never seen a young adult go into retirement age and say, oh, I have too much money for my retirement. No.
Yeah.
We prefer having our reality check when we're young versus when we're older. Let's put it that way. So for me, retirement is really to understand, no problem. You can save your money here, but this is what it's going to do. And this is how you're going to So for us to really understand the consequence of not paying attention to that. Because unfortunately, I've seen a lot of sad things for people that are in retirement. I did an appointment with a 76-year-old couple that could barely afford to go to supper with their friends on Saturday nights. And when we showed the husband and the wife on how to save money so that they could, the husband started to cry at the kitchen table. I seen a 69-year-old lady that had to go bankrupt and lose her house because her husband had just died of cancer 3 years prior, because she had to choose between paying medication and paying her mortgage. So, and she was living in a little, I would say, I don't know, 100 square feet, basically apartment. So she went from a full house to like basically a room style apartment. So I'm sure that's not what they had planned, her and her husband, their entire life, but sickness threw a curveball that nobody saw coming.
Yeah.
Financially. So for me, retirement is very important because of what I've seen, and I don't want that to happen to other people. And number 5 is something that, again, sometimes people think I don't need that, or it's not important right now, or whatever, because they just don't understand the importance of having our will and the power of attorney, and the impact that us passing away will have on our family if our things are not done right. So number 5 is really about, hey, okay, if I die today, what happens with my money? What happens with my checking account? What happens with my pension? What happens with these things?
Yeah.
What happens? Right? So number 5 is to make sure that when we do pass away someday, that we are leaving our families with a less stress possible and peace of mind. And they say, wow, she was smart, or oh my, what mess they left us. I don't want to be a mess. I made sure that my things are done right. So basically, our 5 workshops are given in our communities in French and English. We even have different language, to be honest. We have our Saving Your Future book. We have it in Spanish. We have it in Vietnamese, in Chinese. And right now we're doing Korean and French, so that we can teach people in different languages. Now, I can't speak those languages, but I sure can find someone that can. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you're currently doing the sessions on Saturday mornings in Bouctouche.
Yeah.
You did your first one already. So
Yes.
Saturday coming will be the second one.
Not this specific Saturday because I am away, but on the 16th we'll be in Bouctouche. Yeah. But this week on Thursday night, it's Riverview in English for men and women.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Good.
So we have different locations.
And also that, if anyone did want to sit down with you or anyone from your team, what can they expect if they, if they want to meet with you?
Yeah, that would be a great question. So first of all, we are personally licensed with the province of New Brunswick to legally be able to sit down with people and educate them on different subjects. So I have the ability, and I'm personally licensed in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, Alberta, and Ontario. So anybody listening from all those locations, you could actually contact me and I can educate you on Zoom. But for the local people, what they can expect is when I sit with you, it's confidential, it's free. My job is to basically save your future with you. So I will ask you some basic questions. I'm the girl that's going to see if there's any kind of screw ups in your finances. And if there is, I will find them because I love finding messes and cleaning them up. Okay. So basically, I'm the girl that is going to look at their insurance. I'm going to look at their investments. I'm going to look at their debt. I'm going to look at their will, their power of attorney. I'm going to look at basically everything they can take out financially and see, okay, is there the proper beneficiaries? I'm the one that calls 1-800 number with people and asks the questions that they don't know what to ask, and while they're listening in, so they can learn about their own stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember one example you shared with an older couple. They were spending, I don't know, how many different insurance policies did they have and how much per month?
Yeah. So basically one time I had a teacher that called me to see if I could go sit with her parents that were elderly, and her father had a hard time hearing. So every time they would try to call the companies, they could not make it out what they actually had. So the lady asked me on the phone, like, how long is it going to take? And typically people can expect 30 to 45 minutes for me to like kind of take some information down. And so I said that to her, and I walked in, and there was, like anywhere else, there's like files on the kitchen tables, and they took out their paperwork for me to look at and everything. So I started to look at. Anyway, long story short, I spent the entire day there, and I called a lot of 1-800 numbers with them in the listening at the kitchen table and me asking the questions. They had over 36 active policies, like right now. They were paying over $1,563 of stuff in their 70s, let's call it. They were like 76 in like 80. We're paying all that, and honestly, there was over $1,100 of stuff that was worth nothing to them at that time, at that age. We were able to cancel over $1,100 of stuff that would mean nothing. Yeah,
that is huge.
Yeah, and I mean, think about it. Would you prefer having $1,100 in your checking account, in your legacy account, or giving it to financial institutions out and about? Right? Yep. Just because of lack of education, lack of knowledge, lack of, like, they had no clue what they had. And personally, it took me the entire day to figure it out. And I have a 13 years experience. So I mean, very complicated for the normal people, I'm going to say that. That's not in this daily. So yeah, I've seen a lot of craziness.
So if you want to get your finances in order, call Melanie.
Yes, I would love to help. That's our mission, financial literacy. Really, our mission is 30 million educated by 2030. So that's why, like, I'm super busy in all different kind of ways right now. But we always want to help as many people. So yeah, reach out.
Awesome. Yeah. So any final words to share with the audience?
Yeah, I would say, to go in business, you need to go into something that you truly love, because it's hard. Being in business is not a road, is not easy. And anything is not easy. Being in a relationship is difficult. Losing weight, being healthy is difficult. So there's no easy path to anything. But I would say, to go into business, you need to, love what you do. You need to have the proper environment. I think that I was very lucky. I am very lucky that from my parents' perspective, even though my mother would give me some it's all worth it, because I knew at the end of the day it was just for my well-being, let's call it. So I'm very lucky with my boyfriend, that he's there with me, let's call it. He's always challenging me and pushing me in different ways, but helping me in many ways. So I have a great team in my business right now. The people that are with me educating out there in the communities. I have great staff that are as like compassionate and caring that for me, for people. So I think you really need to have the proper environment to be successful in anything.
Right? Yeah, right.
Anything. Yeah. So for me, I think environment is key, and I am always against the grain, personally, to be honest. Like, I've never been normal. I am a crazy on the corner, and I'm proud of it. I am. Because, I mean, to do something, anything that's worth something to you, you will do things people would not. Like,
you'll find a way.
Yeah, you will find a way, right? Like, I've worked crazy hours, and I've had a lot of personal free time. I've been broke, and I've been wealthy. I've traveled on a budget, and I've traveled with no budget. Like, I've had every pack, and I think everybody needs to have that. I'm grateful that I did not start a business and make a lot of money fast, because I just would have been stupid, to be honest.
Yeah.
When you don't know anything about money and you make it, you're just being silly with it. So I'm really grateful I struggled along the way to where I am today. Yeah. So I would say to anybody, stop you have the power to learn about money. Everybody has the power. Will you invest time, right? Will you invest time in doing it, or just waste time worrying about it, right?
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Basically what it comes down to.
yeah. And I mean, I understand that we all need to worry about it because we all have bills to pay and we all have gas to put in our cars and we have kids to feed and all these things. But there are ways out, and it has nothing to do with your income. It has to do with your mindset, and it has to do with your environment. Because if you hang around with someone like me, I'm going to say, yeah, see, there's ways, there's solutions, there's way out. But if you're hanging with people that say, oh, me too, I'm broke, there's no way out. It's just bad. Yeah. It's not good on the spirit.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think final message is learn about money, create your own environment, do what's right, make a difference, and really live your own life. I don't get sidetracked with society. I'm really like, oh, what's my values? Does that follow it? Am I proud of what I'm doing? Am I proud of my decisions? Is that something I can live with? Then I do make those decisions. I would never go out of that. Let's put it that way. I never do anything to please anymore. Yeah.
Awesome. Good. So you said any more at the end of that. Did it take some time to get to there?
Oh yes. I used to be a people pleaser. Yeah. And it almost destroyed me in business, because when you're trying to be a perfectionist, and where you're trying to please everyone, there's no such thing. So personally, I've been blessed with, I've had a life coach, Nicole Cameron, since 2015. I have a therapist. So I have different people in my life that help me. I say, like, my therapists are there to help me when I'm faced with a situation, like, call it like with bullying in business or in life. You get where you feel like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like making a decision. That person's going to be angry with me and na. So for me, the therapists are there to make me reflect on where's that fear coming from, type of deal, right? My triggers from my past. And my life coach is to help me create the life I want to live. So with her, I'm more focused on, okay, am I living through my values? Is that a proper decision to get me to where I want to go in life? So I have somebody for my past every time something's flaring up, and I have somebody for my future every time I'm getting off track and getting sidetracked with the opinions and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, nope, I know why I'm doing this, and that's it, that's all. But yeah, in life, we are people pleasers because we want to we want people to love us.
Yeah. Simple as that.
Yeah. We want to be liked. Yeah. But I've learned I want to like myself more.
Yeah. And that's the thing, sticking true to your own values is more important than pleasing anyone else. Otherwise, you're just going to be unhappy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Melanie. That was awesome.
Well, it's you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you doing this for people. And I hope to see you in our classes. And I can't wait to see your baby.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right on. You're welcome. Have a great night, Sharla.
You too.